Or
Welcome, everybody. We're going to talk about Marvel Rivals, the hottest game that's out there right now for all the online competitive multiplayer shooter type people. And apparently, it's an Overwatch killer right now. Overwatch is not doing so good because of it. Numbers aren't well, and I think they deserve the type of numbers that they're getting right now, or how greedy they got with Overwatch 2 and all their lies and promises or missed promises. But Rivals, we've all been having fun with it. We've all been playing it, and we're having a good time. And I hope the hype lasts and continues. We'll see how it goes because we're only in season one at the moment, and it's about to end in a couple days. And I've been on the game pretty much every single day, and I think I'm more hooked on it than I ever was in Overwatch. Danny, what were your thoughts on the game?
I like it because one, I mean, it's Overwatch on crack. They took everything that Overwatch had and said, you know what, hold my beer, we can improve that. Oh, I like that. Let me use that, and it's kept going. So,
So, do you prefer the first person aspect or the third person like Rival does?
so the first person to me just makes me nauseous. I have a hard time playing first person games. Period. So I don't do it. So I love the third person. I can't play certain people like Iron Fist and Panther because it's just too jittery. But um overall, it's just something about the game and the balance of comps, which is which is the thing that I know Overwatch One had a big problem with. Is every they became a meta comp, right? It was like three DPS, one whatever it was, three tank. There was three tanks, two healer, three tanks, one healer, one whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just you wouldn't deviate from that. And there was basically the same three fucking tanks that people would pick, the same characters that people would pick in every fucking round because it's the meta. Where this game feels way more balanced, as there is no meta, it's just how good you are with a certain character. Because you can be the shittiest player and put on a Moon Knight and rack up every now and then by accident, or vice versa. You could be the best fucking Moon Knight and go in there and just not perform because your comp is not. You don't need a Moon Knight right there, man. You need something else to really engage with the group, and that's what I kind of like. And then again, a lot of the this person works really well with this person. I feel like they really fed into that aspect. And again,
Mm-hmm.
it's just fun. Yeah, there are some tweaks that they can do because the game's not perfect, but the game's a lot better than Marvel's than Overwatch 2, I think. Especially for like Overwatch 1 was a cool game, don't get me wrong. But then Overwatch 2 was just like basically the pro version of Overwatch, Overwatch Pro. It felt exactly the same except for a few new things. And
Mm-hmm.
it was very disappointing. Well, like Marvel's feels like, okay, this is an actual sequel to this should have been a sequel that they should have made.
I
And
kind
they
of
give you a lot.
I kind of disagree with you on the accessibility of things. Like, yeah, it can be easy to hop on quick play and kind of just play whatever you want and still possibly win a game, even if you really suck. I think a lot of people, once you really get the hang of it, I think a lot of people will want to do competitive play after after they pass a certain rank. um and that can be a bit difficult. I think that's where the learning curve could start, if that's the direction we want to go, which is why I partially disagree with you, because if that's the route
Well,
that you want to go with it, you have to think about what fits together as a team, and
well, and
the synergizing of the characters and stuff.
But that's kind of what I was saying before. Is like before, if you played healer, right? For instance, then you would rank into a healer, wait 5 minutes or whatever it is to get a healer group, but that's all you played. You never really different, like made yourself any different. You stood static, very static. I'm a healer, that's all I do, or I'm a tank, or I'm a DPS, that's all I do. Where in this, I feel like you're almost at times forced to play other classes because it's like, oh fuck, another group where they don't have a healer, another group where they don't have a healer. Okay, I have to switch healer, or I'm eventually gonna have to learn how to heal.
You have to be
Or I'm
well
eventually gonna
rounded.
learn. Yeah, which it's a huge shame because Overwatch, you were just able to stick in whatever mold that you felt like, no matter what. Like you
Yeah.
just stick. You want to stick to be a healer? I say you're a healer. You want to stick to be tank? Then you're gonna be tank for the rest of your career. in this, and you don't have to be stuck there, and it's encouraged to do other things, to learn to have to be at least one class, one character in every class, to be
Mhm.
good in ones in case you have to adapt, in case you're not doing well as a DPS. You go, fuck, okay, I'm gonna switch DPS. You go here, maybe just the way you're playing is a better advantage of how we're going, and maybe I need to DPS more, whatever. We just need to talk to each other, and I feel like that's what makes this a lot more fun. That you can do that in the middle of a game, where
Zoe,
Overwatch you can't.
Zoe, what about you?
As somebody who's only ever played Overwatch once, hated it so bad and never touched it again, I am actually rather impressed by how relatively balanced this game is. Like you said, with the flexibility of, you can take the time and learn every single character, or at least one in every category has something for you to excel at, whether it's blocking, fighting, being more into it, being farther back. And I also feel like there's quite a few characters in between where it's like, you're the healer, but all of a sudden you're DPS, or you're DPS, but your moves are now, tanking, like that's I found that so fascinating when I first getting into this and trying to learn all the characters, because it was a very fast-paced game for me. I'm a first-person shooter type of person. I'm used to figuring out corners and angles and narrow hallways and stuff. So changing to this kind of play style was definitely very different, but definitely it's treated me a lot better than I expected it to. And the seasonal stuff's also been very fun personally.
So would you say, if I got this correct, that you prefer Marvel Rivals? Well, actually, you didn't like Overwatch because you felt restricted with your character. There wasn't much to the character. A tank is a tank, a healer is a healer, and that was it. But with Marvel Rivals characters, they have slight mixes so that way you can play around with different
Yeah, a
roles.
lot more flexibility. Because I'm like, yeah, because with Overwatch, it was like I just did like I don't remember what character it was. So don't quote me on this. But like, if I played a specific character, it was a very specific role, and if I could not play that role well, then I was just absolutely devastating to the team, and I would have to learn. And then it was a mess, and I completely backed out of it. But yeah, like yeah, the current Marvel characters, I feel like have a weird flexibility that allow me to read the situation a lot easier and do something about it, whether it means changing characters or how to play the character I have.
So before Marvel Rivals even came out and you were trying out Overwatch, what was it about it that put you off? Was it the roles?
I played it once. It was definitely the roles. It was definitely how fast paced they were. I came into Overwatch very late, so I felt like the people that I was playing against knew what they were
Oh yeah.
doing compared to what I was doing.
Hmm.
Um, I was also playing with a friend as well, so I'm pretty sure I was getting put into their lobbies, so that didn't really help me very much to get comfortable with the game. Um, yeah, I'm very ignorant of what Overwatch really has to offer outside of that one experience.
They threw you in with the high ranking people, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's nothing I could do.
Kevin, what about you? And I know you played Overwatch.
I did not play Overwatch. I never
No?
did.
I thought we played
No, I
before together.
never played Overwatch. I'm my reasoning is very simple. It's a Marvel game, and they have Spider Man. I'm working my way up to play Spider Man. um, I didn't know that. I played the game a couple of times, and it's like Dan said that it's not like your role is not like it's not like a dead set role. You don't have to be a healer. You don't have to be a tank. You don't have to be DPS.
Well,
You just
you do.
no,
It's
no, no, no.
just you you
I
you
mean
can
every
flip
game. I
between,
mean,
yeah.
yeah, I don't mean every game. Like if let's say, so example, my third game. This is actually my third game of playing Marvel Rivals. My entire team picked DPS. No
Mhm.
bullshit. We got swept,
Mhm.
and I was the only healer. So I learned that it's like I love being healer. Like it's not the role that I like. Oh yeah, I'm just gonna be a healer. It was more so like I'm gonna be a healer, and then I could switch to Wolverine, do DPS. I'm still learning tank, so it's like a little bit different for me. And yeah, like it's a fun game. I'm really enjoying it. Like even in the low ranks, that it's like this game is really fun. I'm enjoying being Miss. Invisible Woman.
Invisible Woman.
Yeah, I basically play her, and I'm enjoying healers. I'm learning different healers, watching actual videos, learning about it, and like it's a really cool game. It's just, and I also like the difficulty. So it's like it tells you like this character is 2 stars, this character is 3 stars. Spider Man for some reason is 5 stars, and I'm like, or 3
he's
stars.
complex.
He's the most complex character.
I played him for 2 matches, and I was like, "How the fuck do I do this?" I'm swinging all around the place, and I'm just like, "Yo, punch, 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 swing away!" And I was just like, "What the fuck am I doing?"
You had
Like-
no control. You were halfway across the map before you blinked twice.
and then you wonder like, did I throw myself off and did somebody hit me? No, I threw myself
Yeah.
off. And it just shows the replay of you swinging off. I was like, that's nice. But like, I'm liking the game a lot more. I'm actually like doing like research on the characters that I'm playing so that I can learn like better text and meta of like certain moves that work well together. And it's like, it's a really good game. It's bringing out the like fighting game like mentality I had when I started playing like Dragon Ball Z and Tekken and all this stuff. So it's like it makes me like go back and be like, oh, let me go to the lab for a bit. Let me practice this character.
Yeah, I find myself getting a bit more learning more technical of everything. Obviously, I got to put into practice most days, but like my next goal is to learn the maps better. Because what I've been doing so far is learning my mains. I love Moon Knight. I love Scarlet Witch, and yes, I play Scarlet Witch very well because my aim is in general is very bad, and not just because I'm just much older. So like my like eyesight is not the best, but like also with my ADHD, I shake a lot. So my mouse is always like this. I'm always like this when I'm playing because my leg is always shaking. So like that's why my aim is always fucked up. So Scarlet Witch is great for me. Sorry, Dan, I gotta mute you for a second because
the jet engine is going crazy.
So there's that. There's Moon Knight, and then when it comes to healers, I like my favorites, Cloak and Dagger, because I like to at least switch still and do DPS every now and then. But I love Cloak and Dagger, and then tank wise, I've been having a lot of fun with Groot and Captain America. And Captain America, mostly because I can run in and punch somebody a couple times and then run out real quick. And that's kind of like the idea of him being kind of like a DPS, but he's still tanky enough to run in and do his thing and kind of run back out as long as we got some good healers on team. And then Groot, I just like to build the walls and funnel people in and stuff like that. And those are always fun. But
Groot is the bane of my existence, dude.
But
constantly blocking my shit.
So what I've done with those characters is I've looked up videos on them with the people that play better, and I've gotten tips from them. I even mess with the mouses. So like with the mouse control for sorry, not the mouse control, the crosshairs, changing the crosshairs so that way I got better aim with that way. So like now I'm getting a hang of who I like to play as and how I strategize with them. But so now I feel like I need to learn how to kind of like bob and weave some more in and out of corners and stuff, position myself better, and then learning the maps. Let me hear from Danny real quick. Hold on, I muted you.
I feel like all that was part of learning the maps, learning the bob, learning bob and weave or whatever. It was all part of Overwatch. It's just the game. There's a lot of things about the game that was stagnant and boring, and even with the abilities and again, it's just every character. It was just something about it felt off, and they never improved on anything, and it felt a little off to me, it felt a little off since the first one. So if it continues like that, and yeah, some people like it, some people love it, and they'll die for it, but they continue to be stagnant and not change, and they never develop any more maps. I think they had like 3 new characters in the whole like time Overwatch 2 was there, and all that was very like okay. Every year we might get every 2 years.
They put them in the season pass too, so you had to pay for them.
So you had to pay for them. Where this was after the first season, they're like, okay, we know you like characters. Not only we're gonna leak all this fucking footage of all these characters that are going to be in the game, but we're telling you we're going to have 4 new characters every season. And right there, you're like, holy shit, that's a lot of characters. That's a lot, when the entire season or lifespan of Overwatch was maybe 4 characters. And and then they add new maps instantly right away. Where again, Overwatch is still, I don't think, still added a new map. So you're playing the same exact things over and over, and all that is what makes you want to learn more about this game, right? It makes you want to play it harder, get better, get good type of thing,
Mhm.
because it's pulling you in and it's continue to keep your attention.
Well, so here's a question because of that. Do you think the game will be too bloated too fast? If they're giving away too much too quickly, will that cause a little bit of a bloat where like either people are overwhelmed or people lose interest or in some fashion like that? Because it is a balance. Sometimes if you give too much, people are just like, you're giving me too much and they kind of overwhelmed with it. Or if you give them too little, like Overwatch did, it's kind of just like, what the fuck? Like I'm bored. These characters aren't resonating with me, so I'm not going to play them anyways. And they kind of just move on to something else.
So again, if you're getting a bunch of characters, I mean, how can you, if you don't want to play them, don't play them. Like, people don't. A lot of people don't like the new Mr. Fantastic, right? But there are fucking shitload of people. I'm one of them who love them. It's a preference thing. So if you give ton of options to play with, then you can use
Well,
that to
because my,
your
my question is,
ability.
it's not about playing them though, because it's also about there are a lot of hardcore.
They're not
There are a
forcing
lot
you
of
to play this game.
it's not about playing them. Let me get to my point. Um, it's not just playing them. It's not the amount of availability of all these characters. Sure, you could just stick with your mains that you're already used to, but there's a lot of players out there that like to analyze things. There's a lot of people who like to keep things balanced. Remember, there's always counters to every character.
Hmm.
So if you're releasing 4, 6, 8 characters a year, people will get overwhelmed with all these different how do you say these counters you need to worry about, these strategies you need to change up on people. You have to constantly switch between characters if you had to try to fight against other things. Or sometimes it's a balance issue. Some of those new characters might be hella strong or stupid weak, and then all this stuff is getting nerfed and buff, and that also creates nerfs and buffs for the previous characters as well, because it has to accommodate for the new characters that are coming in as well. And that also includes balance with the leveling, because some new characters that may be introduced may not be balanced very well for certain maps. So now the maps need to be balanced in certain ways too. It's a lot of intricate details with those things. It's not just about, now you offer for me to play with Fantastic Four, and now I could also play with I don't know, fucking some other Marvel groups or something like that. But if I'm playing 8 new characters this year, sure, I don't have to play them, but it's a balance of everything, and that can overwhelm not just the players but the developers.
Okay.
So this
Kevin.
is real quick. They've done this, right? And they always go back to, well, how come League of Legends can give you 6 new characters a fucking year, but this game can't. And
Good point.
they do it with League of Legends. They add
Hmm.
tons of fucking characters, and that roster is ginormous. It's a fucking huge roster. And yeah, you don't have to. Yes, you don't have to do. You start off strong. First few years, you start off super strong. Have 16 heroes that I want to introduce for the next 2 years. But then after that, I can do 8 heroes, and people will still be happy because you have lots. And that's kind of what League of Legends did.
Hmm.
Um, and then what ends up happening is, well, then they get to tweak new old characters, give them different moves, give them different abilities. Of like Spider-Man. Oh, look, we saw that Spider-Man. Nobody ever played Spider-Man or whoever it was, and so we decided to tweak the whole lineup and the way they play. Now they're phenomenal, and that's a lot of options. As long as devs are working on it and are willing to give people what they want, I think is always going to be a good thing.
Kevin.
Yeah. So like I'm kind of used to this kind of mentality of like balancing issue, map issues, all that stuff because again I stated before I play fighting games and there's
Hmm.
characters that are completely broken, but you just learn like the meta. You learn what works good against this character. If they have that character in the team, okay, cool. I'm gonna pick fucking. Let's say I'm gonna pick Jeff. Jeff works well against everybody. I'll use Jeff, and then it was just gonna body this character. It's gonna force them to switch, or they're just gonna maintain this character and keep getting mollywopped. So I like the idea of having a lot more characters because I've always had that mindset of less is better than more. I mean, more is better than less,
Hmm.
and I can have Miles Morales just like Sober said or Dan said that I can have these different characters. I can tweak this character a little bit, and then he works really well. He's not as good as Spider-Man or as difficult as Spider-Man, but I can play him and I feel more comfortable. So it's like I like the variety. I like if they have 8 characters, that's fine. A year, if they have 12 characters, that's fine. But it's like the variety because it's a game that I'm new to and I want to learn different roles. I don't just want to play healer. I don't just want to play DPS. I don't want to just play tank. I want to try everybody and like try every role and see how it works. And if it doesn't benefit me, then if it doesn't work for me, then I'll just play somebody else and I'll find a character I like.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I like about the game, that it's like you would find that character that synergizes with you really, really well, regardless of the situation.
So Zoe, what are your thoughts so far on them offering so much more content, a lot of content? Do you think it'll overwhelm you? Do you think it's a good thing, a bad thing, or anything we discussed so far?
I think as somebody who was able to start relatively at the beginning of this game, I don't know exactly if it would be overwhelming. I mean, it would be overwhelming for new players down the line. But
Mm.
I mean, I think it's just, if they're going to oversaturate it, I feel like they're going to have to, like, not just do characters, but also do the map balancing, also introduce new abilities and stuff. I feel like compared to like other game structures, Marvel has one thing that I feel like a lot of them don't have, and that is the whole comic book background. They have so much content to pull from to create stuff for this game that it can constantly never endless. And if they do, screw it. If they do end up introducing like, Deadpool into this game and bring out a map that's very Deadpool heavy, and every time this map comes up with a specific game mode, my eyes fucking pop out of my head because I'm rolling them so damn hard because I know what's gonna. It's one game. It's one game compared to possibly 27 maps, compared to 50 different characters. I feel like the flexibility with it, that they would have to dedicate themselves into making it an all around game, per se. It can't just be about the characters. It can't just be about the maps. It can't just be about the game modes. Personally, coming from Destiny, I felt like that's what really killed Destiny for me, was that one minute they're really focusing on Gambit, then like one month they're really focusing on this, and the next month, they're focusing on storytelling all of a sudden, and like it was very haphazard. The
That's what
focus was
worries
like,
me. That's what worries me
yeah,
because and that's what I was comparing it to a lot was Destiny, because Destiny tried to give everybody everything and it became too bloated and overwhelming. But Danny does make a good point. There are developers out there to do it the right way, so they just got to make sure they do it the right way, not like a Bungie did it.
yeah, yeah. And then like Overwatch, like they don't have a story, they don't have anything to really rip from. Everything they do is completely original, and they'd be too afraid to put out anything because there'll be a whole section of the fan base that'll tear them to shreds for putting out a story they don't like,
Mm-hmm.
or with what was the other game we were talking about?
League of Legends.
Yes, League of Legends. Their whole thing is story based. They say, fuck you guys, we're writing our characters' backgrounds, we're writing our stories, we're going to suggest things and then make them real later on, even especially with this whole Arcane story that came out.
Mm-hmm.
They have their whole story writing structure to make all of these characters make sense where they are, map wise, ability wise, X, Y, and Z. That I do think it's possible, but it has to be something that they are careful about, I guess.
Yeah. Hold on. I have one point. I wanna
Mm-hmm.
just piggyback
Go
off
ahead.
of what Zoe said. The fact that League of Legends has music videos, like debuting a character, is bananas. And it makes
Yeah,
millions of views. That's baffling. They have 100, I just looked up the number, 170 champions. And that game
yeah.
is still making profit. I'm like, that's dedication. That's dedication. I don't know, but
Yeah, but
maybe
that's the thing. They care, they create, they're willing to put out regardless of possible backlash. They expand on the overworld to make the overworld make sense. They can completely, totally do that with Marvel between all the Universal stuff. Like they can have both Spider-Mans in the game if they wanted to. Say fuck it. Bring in the old Spider-Man if they want to, with a little baby and his little friend. But
Mhm.
like they can do it. They just got to make sure that they're really doing it, because if they introduce 24 characters,
I
four
can't
maps
imagine
in
freaking
5 years,
10 different types of Spider-Man web slinging throughout that whole fucking map.
No, and then one of them is a fucking tank. That would be bananas. Tank
Dude,
Spider.
I was
Give it
already
to him.
shocked by Venom web slinging around,
What?
okay? And Venom web slings around, like, I
I'm
was like,
sorry.
okay, that's pretty fucking impressive.
Yeah, no, that game is it's baffling. I'm looking forward to see what characters they're dropping. If like we're ever gonna get Doctor Doom as a playable. I've seen like teasers of it, but like or like screenshots. But I'm like, if we get like certain characters, I'm gonna just like especially Miles Morales. I'm waiting for. We got Spider-Man. I
I
just
would
want
like
Miles Morales.
Miles. Yeah.
Yeah, I love Miles.
Any final thoughts before we wrap up?
Please
Uh,
don't stop, Marvel. We love you.
We love you. I want. Can we please get cable, please? I just want to play cable.
Just, dude, we're probably in the next if this keeps up in the next 5 years, we'll have everybody we ever wanted because they have a 20+ roster of X-Men that they could possibly go through. They've got more characters for Guardians of the Galaxy they can go through. They've got all these crazy ass villains on top of like Spider-Man villains specifically. Who are the heroes we got? We got
Yeah, if we
specific
don't get
villains for every
Miles, we
single
can get
hero.
Prowler.
I'm just hoping. I'm not a hater. I don't hate this character. Well, I truly hate this character. Please do not bring Miss Captain Marvel into Marvel Rivals. Please just keep her out the game. I
Oh,
hate this
she would
character
be
with a
so
passion.
annoying.
Her
That would
and
be
like
so bad.
keep her out and bring Nova. I want Nova.
I
Please,
think
cable Nova.
I think if it's in the MCU, we're gonna get it. We're gonna get it.
I'm banning her every game. Every game I'm banning Captain Marvel for no reason, tank or not. She's getting banned.
If nobody got anything else, we'll end it at that. And yeah, we're enjoying the game, and we hope it flourishes. And yeah, we'll see you on there. Hopefully, I can get the fuck out of bronze.
That's hard, man.
One day.
Told you.
One day.
All right, laters.